Hey, so I want to discuss Matt Reeves' Batman. After that statement Matt Reeves released upon the finale of The Penguin, I feel much more certain now that Batman Part 2 is going to happen. If you've seen a couple of my videos on Batman or DC, then you know that I really love this version of Batman. But I just feel like because of James Gunn coming in and all that, that it just seems too good to be true that we're actually going to get the continuation of the story. I don't know if it's just me being paranoid or me being negative, but I just feel like it's just too good to be true. But now with the Penguins' great success, it seems like if Matt Reeves and James Gunn are kind of working together, because I see that in the next animated film that James Gunn announced, Matt Reeves' production company will be producing it. So they clearly have a relationship established. Not necessarily they're tight, but there's a professional relationship now. And like I said, with that statement that Matt Reeves released, it just gives me more confidence that this will actually happen. On Friday, Josh from the Den of Nerds had an interesting take on Matt Reeves' recent comments on Batman in Part 2. Josh does not make it a secret that he doesn't like Matt Reeves' overall take on the Batman, whereas I love it, as you know. Many people love it. Josh, to my view, he prioritizes Marvel above all, the MCU. And then after Star Wars, I agree with 99% of his takes on Star Wars. But because he has such strong nostalgia, I feel like Star Wars is above DC for him. So it's Marvel, Star Wars, DC. Essentially, Matt Reeves said that Batman Part 2, Bruce is going to find it extremely difficult to be Batman. And I felt like Josh kind of misread it a little bit. Maybe it's just because he's so negative. He's just so sick of this take and all that. But he did go on to say more things that I do think kind of they clear it up a bit. And I understand. I That's the thing. I understand his take, and I understand that a lot of people have this view of Matt Reeves' Batman. So I just wanted to give my thoughts. So I am excited with Matt Reeves' comments because essentially the way I interpret that is not. I don't interpret that as this emo version of Batman is gonna be sad and he's gonna be conflicted. I don't know if I could be Batman. I'm not good enough. Like I don't interpret those comments as that. I interpret this more as the events of the Batman. The fact that he relates a lot to the Riddler in the first Batman kind of rocked him to his core. And then learning about the lies about his own father and his mother, just all that rocked him to his core. And also at the end of the Batman, he has hope now. He has Now he's much more of a hero. That was his arc. That's why I love the first Batman movie. It's his arc of being a punisher, being vengeance, and then learning that he can be a hero. There's hope to inspire in the city, and the city kind of inspired it in him. And I love that. That's beautiful. I understood Matt's comments as in the next one, the Bruce Wayne character is gonna be much more fleshed out, which I love that because I'm a huge Batman fan. So as much as I love this take, I know that there needs to be a classic Bruce Wayne. He needs to be the playboy. He has to have the facade. And that's why I do love a lot of Ben Affleck's take because Ben Affleck, I feel, got them both perfectly. Just the fakeness, the being kind of slick and then smiling. And as soon as he doesn't have to, boom, serious. And I kind of do that myself. So I related to that. And I just love that. I love the way Ben played that and the way Zach directed him. So I feel like we need to get that in the next Batman. I think we will based on Matt's comments. So again, I'm still loving Matt's vision. Like I said in my Penguin review, this just solidifies, it's just continuing to solidify that this is like, in my view, like the definitive Batman take. But again, I respect Josh and I understand his comments. And he just goes on to say, and I think he does make a good point in comparison to Tony Stark as Iron Man. He says that he's so sick of the fact that we're just constantly in this rotation of early Batman figuring himself out, Batman being tested, and Batman's always tested in a very personal, emotional way that rocks his foundation of being Batman. The version that he loves, and in general, I think hardcore Batman or just hardcore comic book fans in general, we love the fact that Batman is just such a rock. He's just such a badass. He is so firm in his beliefs. His mindset is just so different. He's like the epitome of a human. Of course, he is more on the logical side and he has inner demons. So he's not a perfect human physically and just the mentality. He just is on a whole other level from the average human being. And that makes him so cool. That's what makes him such a universal, attractive figure in pop culture. And he just went on to talk about a great comic book run and a great film. The comic book is called Tower of Babel, and the animated film is called Justice League Doom, I believe. I don't think it's called Batman. I think it's called Justice League Doom. It's a great story. It's essentially that at this point of where Batman is, again, middle-aged Batman, he's just on a whole other level. He has such darkness and such logical thinking that he has contingency plans. He has plans in place to kill every member of the Justice League just in case. And that's insane and so awesome. And Josh just goes on to say how there's so many stories of like this where it just fleshes out Batman in different ways, and he's just so past questioning the Batman, the Bruce Wayne, like my parents, like he's way past that. He's just on a whole other level of a guardian for humanity, you know? And again, I fully understand Josh's take and I agree with it very much, but I do feel like we need to start somewhere, you know? And Nolan's take was never going to be definitive Batman. That was just such a kind of like the Joker films. It was just such a specific take and vision on this character, and it's interesting and it's great, but it's never going to be the definitive. It can't be, or else the whole universe needs to reflect that, the hyper realism. And yeah, I don't, yeah, that's a whole, the Nolan take is a whole other thing. I still have yet to make a video on that because I need to gather my thoughts on comparing, because I love the Nolan trilogy. It has I have a lot of nostalgia, but it's just different. Anyway, so Josh compares him to Iron Man and says it's like if every story we got of Tony Stark was constantly in like the first two Iron Man films. And he makes a good point because it's true. We've never really gotten past this point of Batman except in the Zack Snyder films, which is why I am a Snyder fan. I wished Snyder got to realize that vision. But I do feel that, you know, Snyder didn't have all the time he wanted. He wanted to take his time, and DC didn't let him. Warner Brothers didn't let him. So he did it the way he did it with Batman vs. Superman right after Man of Steel. I understand that I'm a big Batman and comic book fan. So of course I was going to eat it up. But I understand how most people would... There's a disconnection. There's a reason why the MCU has such a hold on modern pop culture. There's a reason why Tony Stark is such a big figure. You know, he wasn't in the comic books. He wasn't before the films. But the films, the way Kevin Feige and Jon Favreau did it, and the Russo brothers, they really just fleshed out this character, took him from here, and took him on a 10-year journey. And it works. It's a beautiful arc. And it just... now Marvel's in a different place, but take us back to 2019 and completely different place, you know? And that's because of the way he started and the way he ended. And I just feel like we need to do that with Batman. So I still love this take of Batman. I love what's going on. I love the journey that we're on. Robert Pattinson's still at a good age. So I feel like we can get there, but the struggle, it just sucks. DC is like never gonna find its break. But in James Gunn's world, that's gonna be a different Batman. So it just kind of feels like I kind of get what Josh means. Like, I feel like we're never going to get this definitive version because though Matt Reeves will be taking his time with this version of Batman, he's probably never, ever going to see any Justice League or no one, just all the rogues galleries and who knows, maybe Green Arrow or something, you know? But it does seem like he's never going to enter the Justice League or just the big Earth, just like an Earth Mightiest Heroes, Earth Defenders, like he's never gonna reach that point in the Matt Reeves version, which does suck, you know. Josh also goes on to just say how Josh has a very interesting relationship with James Gunn, but he does say that he is very excited for that version because it's gonna be the version with his son Damian Wayne, and how that's a very complicated story for Bruce Wayne. And yeah, I mean, I see what Josh means. You know, there is so many other stories of Batman that isn't just figuring himself out and his identity and struggling with his inner demons. You know, like there is a lot of stories of where Batman just makes peace with his inner demons, and this is what it is, and this is my fuel, and like I'm Batman. That's all there is to it. I'm Batman, and there's no other choice in this life. And that's awesome. That type of resolve is just so crucial to Batman, and we need that. And I do want to see that, you know. But so yeah, it's tough. I wonder if we'll ever get to see because that's the thing. In even though I love Zack Snyder's Batman, that we don't have that emotional connection to Batman, which I think is a part of the reason why the Martha comment doesn't work for so many people, because most people are just casual, you know, they don't have like a deep relationship towards Batman, you know, they just think he's a badass and he's awesome. So I think that's part of the issue, that we've never really been, we have in Zack Snyder's version, we were never really connected to that Batman, not truly, just as just as the character Batman, but not with that specific version and that and the writing. You know, we never got to connect. So I feel like Matt is doing what he needs to do. He's laying the groundwork. We're connecting with this Batman. I think that's why this version of Batman is so so important. Like all over social media, I see all ages just loving this Batman, and myself included. I don't think we've ever been inside Batman's head. Like not really, not even in Nolan's. Like we've just never really gone there, and I love it, you know, and I want more. I want this foundation to be laid, but um, yeah, we're probably never gonna get that. We're probably never gonna get best of both worlds, you know, at least not anytime soon. But yeah, I'm excited for James Gunn's take. I'm very interested to see who is cast, who is directing. I'm way more excited for Matt Reeves Batman, Robert Pattinson Batman. That's way more my style. That's way more my sensibilities, and yeah, I could live without it. You know, I could live without seeing this Batman enter the big realms, fighting Superman, fighting freaking Darkseid, or you know, like there's plenty of stories out there that it would be awesome. Batman getting hold of the White Lantern ring. Like there's plenty of awesome stuff out there, but I'm okay with just fully fleshing out Gotham, the corruption, all the villains, new villains. I really, really want to see Mr. Freeze. I would love it if we did the Court of Owls, which seems very possible. If we got Hush, if we got Clayface. I mean, obviously Joker. You know, there's a ton, but for sure for me, my big one is Mr. Freeze. That's something I really want to see. I'm very excited for this version, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about this because again, even though I don't fully agree with Josh, I see where he's coming from and I think he's valid and I think a lot of people feel that way. And it just got the wheels turning, the gears turning. I just started really thinking about just Batman, especially since since the Penguin just came out. I've been in this mentality of the Batman Matt Reeves' world, and also his animated series, The Cape Crusader, which I did not make a video on because I didn't love it and I didn't have a ton to say really. But I mostly, that's the thing. I love the direction. Again, I trust Matt Reeves. I love the direction he took with Cape Crusader, but I just felt like I'm past that, like that type of animated vibe. Like I love to go back to watch the animated series with Kevin Conroy because there's so much nostalgia and there's a connection there I have, you know. So I'll go back to that. Now, an adult version with Cape Crusader, it was cool. You know, like there was an episode with Clayface that stuck with me, and I still think about that episode. So yeah, there was cool stuff in that, but for sure, I didn't have like a whole lot to say, so I didn't feel like I should even make a video. Um, but yeah, even then, like Matt Reeves shows that he does want the traditional Bruce Wayne. You know, there was a very traditional Bruce Wayne in that series. So yeah, I'm pretty certain that that's the next evolution in the next film. There, I could even see a story where Two Face, where Harvey Dent is involved, and Harvey Dent and that relationship is fleshed out too. But then again, Nolan kind of did that, and he did do that pretty well. So we'll see what happens in Batman Part Two. I hope this ramble was, you got something out of it. Let me know your thoughts on my thoughts, and go check out Josh's video from the Den of Nerds. I'll put a timestamp so you know where to when he talks about Batman. But yeah, and let him know Nerdy Rambling sent you. Thanks for watching.